Well, it's 3 in the morning. I'm tired. Let's talk about plastic cracks, shall we? Let's get the elephant in the room out of the way. I never really cared for that phrase, but we'll use it. 160 SAZABI release info. I'm late on this, basically. Well, late on doing a video for it. I've been keeping an eye out for this for the better part of almost 3 years now, and it has been an absolute nightmare trying to acquire one of these. I have 3 leads left in America before I'm out of options. Then I have 2 possible lockdowns outside of the country. But even when you pre-order this, there's a shot you might not get it. That's how limited it is. I did my own little bits of research. According to the Weeb grapevine, the Katashoki SAZABI was made in half the production units of the the new Gundam from 2019 or so. So wrap your head around that. When they say this is limited, it's super limited compared to the previous model, which makes no sense in many ways, considering that they pushed this back for a while, like 2 years at the very least. So there's still tons of production time. In spite of the whole global pandemic, you would have thought they would have enough of these, but apparently it might not be the case. But hey, it is what it is. The metal structure SAZABI just sort of got a PV video out of nowhere at the end of July, completely just blowing my mind when I got the tip from someone on Instagram, and I sat there and thought, well, they're finally putting it out. And I naively thought this was going to come across as easily as the new Gundam. Believe it or not, I got the new Gundam so easily that I had the opportunity to buy 2, and I really should have. I don't know why in God's green earth I didn't. The metal structure Katashoki SAZABI is also going to be very expensive. From what I understand, it's bigger than the new Gundam, obviously, so it must use more parts and bits of metal. I was told by one supplier in another country that this is going to weigh about 60 pounds. So it's the equivalent of an actual statue, literally. It's kind of wild to come to that conclusion, meaning that for most of us who might have to buy outside of the country, shipping is going to cost about $450. That's the least of your worries if you can get one. The market is also quite odd for this thing. Buying from Hobby Link Japan or a direct Japanese retailer, you'll probably spend $1,500. The new Gundam was $900. I guess we can all account to that also being a factor of inflation. But then the second you step out, you go to the Western countries such as America, and this thing shoots up to $2,000. So there's a price premium at the very least from retailers, and it seems to be steadily climbing. But let's face it, you still can't get one anymore. Your best bet is to hope to snag one on release day, and good luck getting past the bots. As one American retailer has proven to us, scalpers are still king. There are even reputable companies that actually sold some of these on the second, backhanded through eBay, and they went for as much as $3,500. Expect that to be the going rate when these things drop, and only going to go up. I'm talking to you from a collector's standpoint. This is DEFCON 1 for your wallet. Am I getting one? Undoubtedly. I've decided I will have one, and I will not be denied. That is the end of that.
Golden God! I am untethered and my rage knows no bounds!
I was just so militant just now, I forgot my next thought. But frankly, I feel Bandai and Tamashii Nations handled this absolutely abhorrently. Well, guess what? We're releasing it now. You got 1 week to people just being utterly confused as when it drops. And I guess it's a good thing. For the retailers that sort of just dropped them randomly, it gave normal people a shot to get them. But if you're like me, expecting to get a message that something's happening and you don't, you're running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Then the retailers that do say that they're doing pre-orders get botted. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. By the way, shout out to Big Bad Toy Store. I didn't get one from them. But, you know, the customer service cared enough to contact me personally. Not because they know I'm It's a Gundam or anything, but they contacted me to let me know when it was coming up. So that was nice. Unfortunately, I woke up an hour after getting the message because I stayed up all night checking all websites trying to find it. Then I was just like, screw it, maybe it'll be on P Bandai in a month. And well, sucks to suck. I guess I could talk about the overall aesthetic. It seems to lean more towards the RG SAZABI. I'm not exactly in love with it, but I don't hate it. It's got a couple opening hatch gimmicks, some LEDs, the usual fare for these sort of katai shoki things. So overall, it would be a must-have for any major Gundam fan with the capital to buy it. Bandai is basically trying to cater to a more exclusive and I quote, adult fan base, which I guess is understandable as Gundam fans get older. I think the franchise itself is damn near 40, I don't know. But when you have something like this and you don't plan for the fan base to be able to acquire it, it's kind of stupid. It's kind of like the Louis Vuitton Nike shoes. The only people who are really going to get them are the damn bots because you're only making so many. Now, I understand having it limited does increase the value and the desirability. But on the other hand, does it have to be as limited as half the production of the new Gundam? Like, come on. Who's in charge here? Hire me. I'll give you some good ideas. You call me up every now and then and say something like, not Nihojin, American Gundam-chan. Like, yes, Mr. Tanaka, how's it going? We want to make half the amount of SAZABI. No, yada, mendokusei, says I. I've been taking some Japanese lessons, but I keep forgetting. Make sure it's the same amount. People will buy. Gomendasai and Hajimemashite. Wait, that's not right. The MG-1100 Unicorn Gundam Luminous Crystal Body release info. This is once again limited edition P Bandai. You know, Unicorn Gundam when it goes all crystal mode and can reverse time on stuff. This sort of new type, hyper, over the top Star Wars level stuff. You know, the only thing I didn't like about Unicorn, but I let it pass because whatever, you know, I felt Unicorn was good despite some flaws such as that. Overall, it's standard fare for me. This doesn't look too amazing, to be real with you. It doesn't. I bet, actually, if you look at this kit right now, I'm looking at it as a painter. You could make this look good, theoretically, but it would take a lot more work. Mold plastic with the glitter and the attempt to put metallic particles in it. It just makes it look like crap. It looks more like a toy than an actual master grade. So in the hands of a painter, this can look really good. You put some LEDs in it and you sort of define each crystal one by one with a bit of dry brushing is the easiest way to go about that. If you really want to go hard, you pull out the Vallejo paints and dig deep. But the more paint you obviously add, it's going to be harder to get the LED light to shine through and look good. I would say this would probably become like a collector's item later on down the road, possibly. Mobile Suit Gundam, Pulitzer, Amuro Ray, Beyond the Aurora, Volume 1, release date and info. I'm interested. I'll give it a read when they bring it over here, hopefully, and put it in English. The God Gundam is finally dropped. Yeah, it's like 2 days ago. Of course, my pre-orders become back orders. I hate even bothering to pre-order anything from Japan these days. I'll probably pick up one from Japanese Amazon. I don't know. Hopefully I can. Then I could build and paint it before the hype is over and maybe more people will check out this godforsaken channel. I've got nothing to say other than it's hyperposable. I mean, the RG line has come such a long way. It's kind of impressive, in all honesty. When I look at the RG God Gundam, I think to myself, this looks cool. Why on God's green earth did Bandai not, you know, make this an MG? You know, like, it's so sad we have so many of these RG kits, dude, that literally blow the socks off of their MG counterparts because they're so old and dated. The MG God Gundam is just like, it can pose a lot. You got to give Bandai that. But it's just so old and not in a good way. You know, like some kits age like fine wine and the God Gundam age like cheese. But most likely they'll probably do an RG Master Gundam. That would be cool. There's no way you can do the God Gundam without Master. But whatever. Looking pretty tight. People are going crazy over it. some dude on Instagram like put gold leaf all over his, and Twitter went absolutely insane. And I thought to myself, why didn't I think of that? Fusaiki or Fushinki. The horse. Is this an RG? P Bandai? Yeah, it's an RG Fushiki. That's actually cool. You cannot have Fushiki and not have God Gundam. If Bandai doesn't make God Gundam, I'll actually be offended. And I'm not even a G Gundam fan at all. Like, G Gundam's like, okay. When I was a kid, you know, I was like, fly in the sky, my Sune. You know, when I was a kid. Now I'm an adult and I like, look at G Gundam, I'm like, this shit is so flawed. Dragon Ball Gundam. And I'm sure that'll upset G Gundam fans because some Gundam fans are kind of crazy. They're like, how dare you make fun of my favorite iteration of Gundam, you effing loser. Metal builds strike nor Gundam. Metal builds, I swear to God, I said it once, I said it 1,000 times. They look absolutely awesome in the promotional photos. But when you get the thing, it just looks like a big metal toy. I'm serious. I have like 3 metal builds. That's how I feel about them. They just look like toys. Promotional art, great. Actual figure, Shining fingers. I guess Bandai's in the spirit of G Gundam because the Berserker mode Nobel Gundam is getting reissued. Just in case you want one. I think I have one in my backlog. I'm going to have to go check that out. I always wanted to paint that kit, believe it or not. For some reason, I have a desire to paint this. I don't know why. I don't know when I'll get to it. I'll go look for it and put it in the like to-do list, which is honest to God getting out of hand. Here's something I think is actually cool. Like most crap I look at. The Mega Trade Shop adds the 1/144 scale Argama catapult decks to the realistic model series. I'll buy this. I don't know how much it is. Mega House is kind of like, Mega House is so weird. Some of this stuff is just tight. They make the Gundam Guys and Gundam Girls generation miniature statues. They're like, I don't even know what scale they are, 1/8, whatever, right? They're kind of cool. It's nice to actually have a pilot figure with your Gunpla that you've collected and built and whatnot, right? So those are cool. They also have like the decks of famous ships. You know what Mega House should do, because this is brilliant. Like, this looks really cool. Now I have to buy like a double Zeta HG or something to do this because I got everything else. But like, they should release parts. This is insane, I know. But they should release parts of the Argama and let you collect them and build an actual 1/144 scale Argama. How sick would that be? Like, you could build it at your own pace, at your own price point. You know, they already pre-paint these, which, you know, is kind of a disappointment for me because I wanted to paint it myself because I think obviously I could do a better paint job than this. This is like by the numbers, you know, bing, bang, boom, pre-shade, throw it out the door, rush job. But on the other hand, it's like if I ever wanted to resell it, would someone be put off by the fact that I painted it? Maybe not, but you don't know. I'm not like huge all over the world. Not everybody's huffing the paint that is my paint work. But point being, if they made this and just let you just keep adding parts to do 1/144 scale Argama, that would be sick. And it'd be huge as hell. It'd be like such an exclusive thing, but whatever. You know, I'm being crazy here. This is completely not practical. Even this launch deck is not practical. Like, it's probably huge. It does have a lot of features, like the turrets move. I like that. The catapult deck has some sliding features. The doors open and close. Delicious. I love it. The attention to detail, fantastic. They even have LED systems pre-built in. You can add your own. That's probably what I'll do a little bit more, to have like a runway with like sequential, you know, red and blue lights going down. Sick as hell. I wonder, can you like mount this on a wall or something? Because the last one they did, you could do that for. But this looks a little big. Whatever. If you're interested, this is the thing to get whenever they put these out in stores. I will buy it like the crack fiend I am. It's about to be the 35th anniversary of Char's Counterattack in 2023. I remember my first DVD, believe it or not, that I ever bought with my own money as a kid was Char's Counterattack from FYE. That's how far back we're going with my life. So I guess it makes sense. They put out the new Gundam. They put out SAZABI. I wonder what they're going to do for next year. You know, it'd be nice if Bandai surprised us and did a PG Unleash new Gundam. Wouldn't that be fantastic? They won't, though, because you want it. Because Bandai is like, I swear to God, they're crazy. There's something wrong in Bandai. Like, for real. Hear me out. Because I know many of you are into this stuff, too. Wouldn't you buy a PG Unleashed new Gundam, no questions asked? None. Like, the PG Unleashed normal Gundam's $300, $280 to $300. And if you try to buy one off eBay, you're looking at $400. I wouldn't bat an eye at paying $400 for a PG new Gundam. That's correct to scale for 1/60th scale new Gundam, because it'd be absolutely monstrous. I'd pay for that. No question. Wouldn't stop like, here's my money, sir. SH Studios. They're making a PG not SAZABI, Sinanju from like the PG unicorn body. Great thinking. You know, I would hope they have some stuff to reinforce some of the limbs because I find them to be weak. But whatever. Like, the buy-in for it is $500. I think that people are buying in. I know I bought in. The second new type, like, sent me an email. You want this? I said, yes. Give it to me now, daddy. Bandai is leaving money on the table, bro. They could do a PG Unleashed Sinanju and it would sell out. It would not stop selling. The MG SAZABI is still to this day one of the best-selling master grades. You know why? Because it's that good. People want it. Make the PG, you freaks. What the hell are you doing? The Witch of Mercury. Whoopee! HG Witch of Mercury. Let me beat off to that boredom. You're like, God. Jesus. Hey, you guys want another unicorn? It's the crystal version. No. Actually, I don't. The RG Freedom Gundam is coming to basically China retails. I think you can still get them if you buy from like Yahoo Japan and you use like a proxy site like BuyE or something. They're not sponsoring me currently. They haven't at all, actually. The MG RX-93 New Gundam Verka Psycho Frame Activation Image Colors. Krosama bought these. I told him to pick me up one next time he's at the store. I find it to be actually very ugly color. So undoubtedly, if he gets this to me, I will most likely either A, probably never take it out of the box because I know like they'll might not make these again for like another 5 or 6 years or more. And if I get tired of it, I'm like, screw this, I need some fast money, I can flip it. Or B, I would totally repaint and do it. But then at that point, I may as well buy a normal one and repaint it to these colors and actually make it work. Because basically, from what I can tell, you could do this exact same thing, but better, and do like a pearl clear coat over it, like a pearl green prism. That's what I'm seeing here. And it would look leaps better. This just kind of looks like a pukey-ish yellow-green tint. But I guess it's trying to like recreate a glowing mode that the new Gundam never had, but whatever, you know. I think this came out in 2013, right? And Unicorn Gundam was like 2010 when it originally started airing. So obviously, Kotoki was kind of inspired to add New Gundam stuff to, not New Gundam, you know, Unicorn to New Gundam, but whatever, let's move on. Nobody's got all day for me to wax poetically about plastic crack. The Metal Build Hyper Bazooka for the High New Gundam. You can get this right now on P Bandai. It's $150. The High New Gundam itself will be harder to get though. Jesus, I remember something like E-Night has these in stock, actually. So you can pre-order from them if you're interested. Maybe New Type HQ might get some. I don't know for sure. But I will say this right here and right now. But this design is probably the best design of this Hyper Bazooka I have seen. Even the like third-party makers have not made something this badass. It is absolutely bonkers. In your face, suck it down, mommy. This is a killer thing. They incorporated both versions of the Hyper Bazooka into one, dude. Genius. Sometimes Metal Build does have some great designs. It's just their product doesn't look that good in person. But my God, the design aesthetic here is brilliant. I love it. It's just so over the top and visceral. I pray to God it looks half as good in person. Even though I probably wouldn't remove it from the box. Who the hell knows? I'm trying to buy a house, so I don't really have room. And I also know how collecting works now. If you don't get something you really want now, you can forget it. Like, absolutely forget it. You don't get Metal Build SAZABI when it drops, forget it. That thing's going to be 6 Gs in 1 year. I probably shouldn't be telling you this. I don't think scalpers pay me any attention. Nobody cares about me except, like, my hardcore fans. Everybody else doesn't care if I live or die. Oh, this is long. This is like 22 minutes, bro. You know what? Like I said, the only other thing to talk about is the Witch of Mercury. There's a whole bunch of HG kits. I don't care. Like I said, I'm bitter about the lack of perfect grade New Gundam and perfect grade SAZABI and Sinanju. How do we not have perfect grade Sinanju for PG Unicorn? Remember when Bandai at least made the Zaku for the Gundam? Come on now, guys. I just probably expect too much from Bandai. Let's be real. They're not going to do anything risky. That's why the third-party market exists. And thank God for them. If it wasn't for Mechanic Core, there would have never been a perfect grade Unleashed Gundam. And you can quote me on that.